Okay, so this is a rant video that I never expected I would have been doing because I've never done one before. But everything that is happening right now is crazy. It's just ridiculous. So, for those who don't know, Helena Taylor, who's the voice for Bayonetta, the character of the game with the same name, she released 2 days ago a bunch of videos on her Twitter channel addressing a problem that like that she had, but that is pervasive of the voice actor industry. The fact that got the Platinum Games offered only $4,000 for as her pay for her to voice act the whole game as a flat out fee. And that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous because it's so little. We'll have to see if this is true. We'll have to see if, if there's documents supporting this. But the fact alone that she's going against Platinum Games as a whole and Nintendo deserves credit because unless you're completely crazy, you don't do that. Especially knowing how Nintendo retaliates against people who go against it. And but I just want to point out to everybody that this is crazy. Bayonetta as a franchise cashed in millions, and voice actors like you have no idea if you've never like thought about it or been in the field how much voice actors have to study and to take care of themselves. Like it's not like knowing a trade. Like I don't know. It's not like you know how to make guitars and you just like once you have the knowledge you can always make it whatever happens. No, it's as a voice actor not only it's a strange position because you're right in the middle between being an actor and being a singer. So you have to study acting, you have to create characters, remember them, stay true to them, and that alone requires a hell of a work. And also, you have to take care of your voice. You have to learn how to use it. You have to, uh, again, study almost as a singer. You have to take care of your voice over the years, over time, on a daily basis. You have to avoid eating certain foods when you're going to record your voice for products. You have to study diction. You have to be careful not to pick up any accents and learn accents if you need them for your work. It's incredibly difficult as a job. And the fact that this got like this kind of job is was planned to be awarded so little is disgusting. It's just plainly disgusting. Uh, Again, we'll have to see if everything is true, if her words are true. But I tend to believe her because again, it's going against the non-disclosure agreement, which there always is in these cases, on your pay and on your supposed pay and stuff like this. It's again, it's courageous on its own. But again, I've been a long time fan of Bayonetta. I played it. I played the first game when it first came out. I think 2008 or 2011. I don't remember. Maybe yes, 2009 probably. Whatever. Um, it's a beautiful game. If you haven't played it, play it. The first one, it's beautiful. It has a beautiful soundtrack. Again, her voice acting and in general, the voice acting for all the characters is just amazing. It's hilarious. The gameplay is one of the most engaging and funny fighting action games ever. It's it's just wonderful. The art design, oh my god, the character design. If you you have no idea how much work there was on the character design. I invite you to go look at the booklets for not the booklets, but like the art books with the character sheets, the character design, the tests for other like designs for Bayonetta, and like I'll just tell you this: if you're not an artist, usually you don't notice it. You don't notice this, but go look at Bayonetta's proportions and Jean's proportion as well, but Bayonetta's, like how perfect her design is to avoid making you notice that her legs are actually a set like 7th out of 10 of his body. Like her legs are huge, they're so big, they couldn't be ever that big. But the design of her hair, of her dress, it's the same thing. It covers this. It creates unity and coherence. It's beautiful. It's just perfect. So that game has a hell of a work behind it. It's amazing. And again, I'm. It's always difficult to. It's impossible. Like who, great who manages to do this, but it's impossible to separate a work of art from its creator. So I wasn't aware. Again, I like the game. I wasn't aware of like Hideki Kamiya's attitude in general because I don't care, because I never cared before. It's I enjoy the game. I don't care about the persons, but this, I guess, this hits closer to home for me because it always happens. But I'm reminded once again that heroes don't exist. Like, however you can love, you can respect the work of a person, in the end they are a person, they're humans, so they have all their flaws. They are capable of great things, great deals, great good things, but they're also capable of terrible misdeeds. And the fact that I recently, like, if you go on his Twitter page, all the shenanigans that happens on Twitter, I don't care, but if you go on his Twitter page, apparently Kamiya's attitude over the years has been basically something that he shares with some Japanese people. Again, it's important to say that it's not all Japanese people, it's not, but there is this kind of attitude is present. If you go to Japan, you can feel it. I've been to Japan, I've lived in Japan, you can feel it. This kind of racism against people who don't speak Japanese, and the fact that he calls insects any fan or anyone who, again, this is just Twitter shenanigans, anyone who doesn't conform to his rules on Twitter, but whatever. This is just, again, stupid, but whatever. It's just crazy that something like this is happening. It's already the work on Bayonetta 3, like, we already know, like, if anyone is a little disillusioned like me on video games, on video game industry, they know that there is not the possibility anymore for good standalone games, at least in AAA. At least if we're talking AAA, like there can be good indies, there can be like artistically interesting indies. There's almost never the chance of that happening for AAA games because, and this is common practice, it's like you can ask anybody, there's a lot of interviews talking about this. Nowadays, producers ask game developers to make games so that even if they're like standalone, even if they're like if their plot kind of ends in one game, they have to be open for other chapters. They have to be created so that you can create a second chapter in the universe. So they leave open some questions. So there's a hook. There's a cliffhanger of some kind. Because then if your first game hits and it goes and it sells well, the publishers can renew the contract with the game developers or another game developer team with the same IP to create another like 10 games. Even just the fact that Bayonetta had a sequel. Bayonetta didn't need a sequel. It's like, and the sequel was basically the same game. It was a carbon copy of the same game, and it had this attitude of a parody. So like, they worked around it, but still, it had no soul. It was the same as the first one, but the first one was pure camp. The second one was, fake camp that knows to be camp. Like it was not as outrageously crazy and ridiculous as the first one. It was just trying to be the first one once again. So that said, again, and game companies have like, especially Nintendo has a lot of malpractice on the market. They not only they're in a position of dominance, but they've been trying to, if anyone follows this, they'll know, they've been trying to ban secondhand games market to make them outlawed for a long time. And that's the reason also why their games, the price of their games stays so high over years, even if it makes no sense. Again, that's just crazy. We can discuss about this. Like, I wanted to, you can criticize me in the comments all you want. I give you permission. It's just, again, it's just, I needed to make this Rant video because this can't go on. Like, I have a message for, if it for some crazy reason Hideki Kamiya sees this video, please, Kamiya Hideki-san, どうしてそんなことを言いましたか？どうしてファンズを無視と呼んでましたか？どうしてヘレナ・テイローさんはそんな小さい給料を払いましたか？どうして？ Like, there's no reason. Like, it's ridiculous. They are trying. It's okay that the yen is weak. Okay, whatever. It's not real. Like, again, this game has had a troubled production. Like, it's clear that it has some problems about the developing, because you don't go on announcing a game when you have nothing. Again, they started doing this all the time. Like, look at Cyberpunk 2077 or whatever. It's they started, for some years to this day, game companies have started announcing and teasing games that they have nothing on far in advance, so to create hype, this hype culture that is just destroying the video game industry. But in this case, again, it's like Cyberpunk. It's blatant that the game had problems in developing because they announced it way too early, and the fact that since the second game, Bayonetta migrated to Nintendo instead of, like, I don't know, the first one was on Sony and Xbox and then a computer. Nintendo policies on mature and adult games, like, Bayonetta can't go along well with Nintendo. If anyone played the first game was a continual sexual innuendo. And the fact that the third game is on already, if I'm not mistaken, now it has also been announced the fact that the third game has a mode to exclude all kind of like partial nudity and suggestive scenes and innuendos, because it has to be family friendly, because it's Nintendo. They have awful policies on this. But the fact that there is this policy means that the scenes that you cut, most likely, again, we don't have the game in hand, but most likely, we can assume that the scenes that they would be cut by activating this mode, this safe for work mode, it means that those scenes don't have an impact on the game. It means that those scenes are not memorable. It means that probably there's no dedicated scene to, like in the first one, to Bayonetta saving, I don't know, Luca, and him basically just, lunging in the air and doing what they were doing. So the scenes, there are probably no scenes, and this applies only to the gameplay, where when she uses her hair as a weapon, and so she doesn't get naked. And okay, you're gonna tell me, oh, but that doesn't change anything about the gameplay or the story. Yes, but like, this was part of the soul of Bayonetta, and you're changing something that is at the core. Then again, this is just about the game. The fact that is that, like, the environment around the thing that just happened is already problematic. Like, there's already something that's not going on well. So that's the thing. The fact that, again, Hideki Kamiya fell from grace in one night, overnight, is incredible, because, again, this attitude that he had on his comments on his Twitter page. It's been a long time coming, and I regret not having paid attention to this first, but I just hope that this will see some change with this, because again, the video game industry has a history of malpractice with anyone involved in it, except again the CEOs and the directors. There's not all directors, because for instance Hideo Kojima again was sacked by by Konami for who knows what reason, but he was making good games first, and then Konami wanted to sell to pachinkos, so that another big publisher that went to shit. But whatever. It's just ridiculous. The video game industry is suffering so much right now. It's at a point of no return. It has been at a point of no return for a long time coming, in my opinion. There's no interest in artistic creativity behind it. There's no interest in creating a decent work environment. And this doesn't apply to all, first and foremost, but most situations are like this. It's been documented. The fact that game developers, that programmers are subjected to crazy crunching, to working hours that makes no sense, that made no sense even during slavery, and now this. It's absolutely ridiculous for so little pay. The fact that some voice actors are being paid so little. And again, this is not an indie game. This is not a house that had no means to reward its voice actors and asking them to accept a lower fee because of the good in their hearts. That's not the case. We're talking about Platinum Games. We're talking about Nintendo. Those are not small indie like game development houses. It's very different. And again, the fact that everybody's selling out, the fact that everybody's just creating IPs for the sake of creating IPs and sell you merchandise and sell you one story divided into 10 games, like the Telltale games and stuff like that. It's ridiculous. It's just brandizing, marketing to the extreme, and it completely destroyed video game industry. And the few games that have an actual like artistic integrity and vision behind it, like it was for Final Fantasy 13, get destroyed by the fans because, oh no, it wasn't as the other games. Oh no, I want just more of the same. So okay, but beside it, like there are a lot of problems with this, but these issues need to be addressed, because otherwise, I'm telling you, we are going for a shutdown, a meltdown of the video game industry. Maybe we need to reach that point so that we can recreate on their ashes, but this is just ridiculous. Again, to conclude this extremely long rant, for which I'm sorry, again, you can kick my ass in the comment section. That's perfectly fine. I just needed to do this, I guess, as a personal coping mechanism about all this. But we'll have to see if all of this is true. The fact that Helena Taylor is going against a non-disclosure agreement, supposedly, but most likely, if we are to believe her words, which I tend to. It's, again, alone, it's good, because non-disclosure agreements are the devil. The fact that she's going against Nintendo and Platinum Games is deserving of praise, if this all is true. Deserving of a lot of praise. Voice actors need to be paid. Everybody in the world for labor needs to be paid a decent amount for living, and especially if they have to have so much training and experience and professional dedication and quality of their work. They need to be rewarded accordingly. It can't be that game industry companies that rake millions on merchandising, on games, on hype culture, don't pay the personnel working on the game. Being them voice actors, being them, photography directors, being them writers, being them programmers. There has to be a change. We need to change this, and we can all help towards this change. I invite everybody, as Helena Taylor did, to just boycott Bayonetta 3, if this is true. Again, we'll see in the coming days. There's probably gonna be something. Nintendo's probably gonna sue her, because whatever have they done for the past 12 years? Just suing people everywhere. We need to change this. We can change this. Let's boycott the game, like she said. Let's donate to charity. What we should have paid for this game, and let's try and be decent, of course. Let's not, unload the Twitter shitstorm on the comments against Hideki Kamiya or whatever. Let's try to be decent human beings, please. But still, we have to do something. I invite everybody to boycott the game. I invite everybody to donate to charity and support Helena Taylor, because this cannot continue, to reference another beautiful game. And that's it. I'm sorry for this rant video. Just, it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. I hope you'll agree with me on this, at least on this, because no,